Welcome back to the Chill Zone podcast. I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin', and I'm here with my co-host, Roger.
Hey, how's everyone doing today?
And of course, we got another great special guest this week, Mason.
What's going on,
Mason, you're first time on the Chill Zone podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the community, man.
Yes, sir. My name is Mason. I like gaming a lot, man, and working all the time, bro. You know, just chilling for the most part, man. Just trying to get through all this COVID mess.
Yeah, no doubt. What do you do for a living, man?
What do? I work at Amazon currently.
Okay.
Just warehouse work, packing boxes and stuff. I actually work at a vendor flex warehouse where we pack Nestle Purina products, so like dog food, stuff like that.
Oh, okay. How long you been doing that?
I've been there since November, actually. So it'll be about 2-3 months.
Pays good.
Yeah, not bad.
Pays okay.
Temporary. I'm trying to get into the police force currently. Applied for state troopers, and they haven't scheduled anything for like written tests or their physical or nothing yet because of COVID. So they're like backed up on the schedule. I haven't received any updates, but hopefully I hear something soon.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, definitely good luck with everything, man. But what games do you like to play, man? What have you been playing often?
Yeah, for the most part, I've just been playing Fortnite and the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And,
Great game.
And Super Smash Brothers is usually my forte. So.
Okay,
cool.
Okay. Yeah, not a bad, eh? Any fun facts you want to tell anybody at all?
Fun facts? Not necessarily, but I'm seeing somebody at the moment, you know.
Hey, that's good.
So,
yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. But Roger, man, how you been, man? What you been playing?
So I've been continuing Cyberpunk, playing WoW. Other than that, nothing else really. I was thinking about picking the Switch back up here soon. Maybe going back through the Mario trilogy that was released late last year.
Yeah, the All Stars, I think it was.
Yeah, Mario All Stars. It was the three games: 64, Sunshine, and then the first of the Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm halfway through Sunshine. I beat 64 in a day.
No doubt. Great games right there, man. Those are cult classics.
They're classics. Sure. They really are. You know, they really defined gaming, and they're always really fluid. Like if you look at a ton of these other games that are out there, sometimes controls just aren't always there. And I find that I've always liked the controls of a Mario game. It always felt fluid.
No, yeah, Mario was one of those games that they really did master. Like everything, like the gameplay just worked really well, the controls worked really well, and the visuals they just adapted with time. Like it went from like a 2D platform until it's 3D, and even in the early stages of 3D, it was like one of those games that they would showcase. Like this is what the Nintendo 64 can do, or whatever system it was on at the time.
Yeah, it was 64 was really the big thing for a Super Mario 64. Like that game was one of the ground-defining games alongside of Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, and the other one on the 64 was probably was it one of the James Bond games, if I'm not mistaken. GoldenEye, yeah. Another great game
as well.
For sure. But man, yeah, that's awesome to hear. Myself, I'm doing good. No complaints over here. Just like Mason said, working, chilling, keeping low out of the COVID as much as you can. But right now I'm playing. I just beat Assassin's Creed, so that game review is up on my blog site. And then I'm just working on Watch Dogs. I did put Cyberpunk to the side. I'm going to get back to that eventually. I'm going to probably dive into Hitman 3 probably, I think, because that just came out. What's today? It came out yesterday, and then The Medium comes out next week, so definitely a lot of games to dive into.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, just trying to get through those games and whatnot. I do got a huge backlog to definitely dive into eventually. And then, of course, we got to start playing some Cuphead, because that's our next game in progress review.
14 days to beat it, and it's definitely not going to take the 10 hours you think it's going to take.
Right.
It's
Well,
gonna
at least
take
it's
quite a few hours for the first boss, I bet.
right. Well, at least it's an in progress review like the rest of our games that we've been reviewing.
Yeah.
Where we didn't beat them,
Yeah.
but I think this is a game
I'd
that we
like
could
to
beat.
get close, if not beat it.
Right. I think we'll progress pretty well in that game.
Yeah.
No doubt. All right, man. Let's move into the first topic of this week: gaming news and rumors. First up would be the God of War developers apparently working on a second project. Well,
Yep.
Mason, I'll go to you on this one first. What do you think they could be working on? It'll probably be a PlayStation exclusive, but any thoughts on it?
I'm not quite sure what that rumor even was, honestly, but anything. I know God of War was a very popular series. I haven't really dabbled in that series all too much. I think I played the first one. It was like a remaster of it, like through the PS Now thing. So I was trying to see what that game was like, but didn't really catch my eye. But yeah, I have absolutely no idea what they could possibly make, and hopefully it's not just a hack and slash game where you just like button mash or anything like
Right,
that.
right. Maybe give us something a little different.
Well,
Yeah,
if
different.
anything, from what I can tell, it's probably going to be a sequel to the most recent God of War game.
Well, they're
got
working
released
on that too, but they apparently have
Yeah.
another game in the works. Like they already
Oh,
announced
I
God
didn't
of
even
War.
hear about that.
Yeah, well, God of War Ragnarok is already
Yeah,
in development. It's been
that's for
announced
this
and all
year.
that stuff. But there's
It's
a
set for
rumor
this
going
year, I
around
thought.
that, yeah. Apparently, there's a rumor going around that they have a second project in the works as well. Whether it's coming out soon or in the future and stuff. But I personally don't know what it could be. I wonder if this will just be a new IP or maybe a different take on the God of War series. Because like Mason was saying,
Yeah.
the game has been more of like a hack and slash. Let me just beat things up and whatnot. I've never really dove into God of War that much either, but I think maybe they can try like a different genre for a game, maybe the same setting, or I don't know. I think there's definitely different avenues that they could take with it.
Definitely.
But another rumor that I saw, aka leaks, is the GTA 6. That they apparently have this new technology that they are recruiting people to come help work on for the next thing with the whole realistic NPCs. Roger, what are your thoughts on like furthering the technology of NPCs in a game?
So, from what I understand, the article that I read was talking about how the NPCs now are going to be a little more AI driven, have a little more backbone to them. Because normally AIs right now, like even look at Cyberpunk, for example, they just react to the idea of something entering into their close proximity.
Right.
They don't really do much. They have some, pre-recorded voice lines, things like that. But from what I understand, it's probably going to be a little more in depth where, the AIs do a little bit more because, GTA has always been known for having a lot of interactable AIs throughout the game.
Right.
Being able to, walk into a convenience store and rob somebody to, being able to pick up a prostitute and drive her into a dark alley,
No
whatever
wonder
you
why
wanna
I was
really
allowed
do,
to play
you
these
can
games
do.
when I was a kid.
No wonder, yeah.
What's your thoughts on this, Mason?
I think it'd be really cool if they could improve how AI, the bots, interact with the player. But I feel like it'd be taking a lot more work put into that, like how complicated that would be. I'm not sure what the inner workings of that is, but that would be very cool if they could have more of like an intelligence to them, so they can
Right.
interact
No,
in
yeah.
different ways every time you talk to them or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. It makes sense because you think about it, like a lot of times like the side characters are the ones who get the most attention, and those ones have a little bit more interaction with you as opposed to someone like you said walking down the street. Like maybe I mean like you were saying, everything just seems a little bit too scripted, but I think they have to have like more of like an adaptable like development so like they can react to different situations. Like if you ever like drive by somebody in like Cyberpunk or something like that, they automatically get scared. Like why does every single person get scared? Or like when they hear gunshots, like everybody does the exact same motion where they like crouch and they're like, oh no, like some people might run and some people might crouch, some people might go dive behind a car. Like make that like some, because that would be more realistic to me.
And the other thing here is to note the reason why these rumors are going around is because Rockstar actually put in a patent for their new AI navigation code. So
Hmm.
it's said that the patent appears to show a complex set of decision-making algorithms that affect how NPCs behave around each other and other playable characters.
Right. No, yeah. Nonetheless, I think it's cool, and I think that's like a next gen feature that I think we can all look forward to, not just in GTA, because like I think GTA could be like the groundwork, the first company to do it, and it would definitely be a generational leap too, because you figure GTA 5 has been out for I don't know forever. It's been on 3 generations now. It's time
Yeah,
for a next gen game of GTA. Like they just been
definitely.
progressively adding to GTA 5, so it's something different.
Hmm. No, I completely agree. GTA 5 has become sort of a sinkhole with Rockstar development. Now, mind you, they did come out with the Red Dead Redemption, so they
Hmm.
were actually working on a game. I
Right.
think the thing that really killed GTA 5 was the fact that the DLC just wasn't there for the most part of the game.
Hmm.
Like there wasn't very much other than cash shop feeling items. It was like,
Oh
let's
yeah.
add these really expensive items that you can't really get because farming money in GTA is silly hard. Like they were like, we're gonna add heist. We're gonna add heist. That was the coolest feature in the story. They didn't add heist for a long time.
Yeah,
It
but
took
so
a very
they
long
just
time
released that one on that island
a new one,
recently.
yeah. So like it took forever for them to come up with these, multiplayer missions.
Right. So Mason, you played Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I think like if they can implement like a smarter NPCs, I mean you can notice it in even in Assassin's Creed because like you ever like go into a village and you have to like shoot a window with a bow and arrow or something like that, and like
Yeah.
every AI in the entire town all of a sudden knows that you just shot an arrow
Yeah.
at a piece of wood, and they all like start freaking out like why well,
Right.
like that was one of the weakest parts I think of the game. Like they could really improve. What are your
Like
thoughts on something
every
like that?
Assassin's Creed, though, basically. Like at least within the last 4 generations of that game, like they all do that. Like they use pretty much the same NPC basis for each one of those games from Origins up until Valhalla. I would say,
Right,
but
right,
it never bothered me all that much. Like when it happens, I just like laugh and then keep doing what I'm doing. It doesn't really
right. Yeah, it's
like
something
what I
that kind of just goes under the radar.
because then they would just be walking and I shoot an arrow and then nobody responds. Like if I'm
Right.
in the middle of a village or something and I'm like chasing somebody down, I expect them to react to me chasing down and then stabbing this dude in the back and like they freak out like, oh my god, he just killed somebody. Like that warrants that kind of reaction, not me just running down the like a path with my horse or something like that. Like that
It,
shouldn't bother somebody. You know.
Yeah.
right, right. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we've all seen a ton of games where NPCs just act and you just like question, you're like, what did they just do or why did they just do
Yes.
that? And you just laugh and you just move on. But I think that's one of those features that definitely would impact a game and make you like, oh, is this a game or is this a movie? Like, I think that could be one of those features that makes you
Mhm.
question, is this a game or is this
Immersion.
real?
Yeah, it brings in the immersion, I think.
Yeah.
If the new GTA AI really is that good, I feel as though we could see a lot more immersion in the game. But for me, I don't think I ever really acknowledged the fact that NPCs existed in GTA. They were really just speed bumps.
That's always been a
You
joke. You're like, oh, 20 points or whatever it was like when you used to
Yeah,
run
no,
people over.
exactly. That was the running joke that every time you hit an NPC, you got more points. You know,
Right.
that's why how parents try to trivially tried to ban the game in their mind. They're like, you get points for running people over. It's
And you
like,
can go to strip clubs and be and pick up hookers and
I'm like, no, if you run somebody over, the cops show up. Hell, if you accidentally look at a cop wrong, he pulls out his shotgun and blows your head off. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, yeah, GTA man, it's been one of those games that's been a staple and another cult
yeah,
classic. And you were talking about how like the DLCs haven't been there and stuff like that, and they've had DLC here and there, but a game that has lasted this long
yeah.
on 3 generations is a true milestone, man. And it's
Well,
actually the game that has generated the most money, but I would also hope so because it's been a game that had like a consistent player base for like the longest time.
and like the weirdest thing is their multiplayer system is the last time I checked, complete and utter garbage. Like trying to get into a game is just not it's not great. So the game itself has an okay player base in my opinion, but it's mostly meant for you to play with your friends if you really wanted to. Like that's what I did with GTA 4. GTA 4 like had one of the best DLCs in my opinion of a game. Like
Hmm.
for not even $20. I think it was had a ton of content in this DLC. And
Right.
then it was also because it extended the story, and then in addition, it brought all of that stuff into the multiplayer. I had more fun just running around in GTA 4 than I did GTA 5.
No, yeah, 100%, no doubt about that.
Hmm.
But yeah, so it sounds like we can all agree that improving the NPCs in a game will definitely help, whether it's GTA or GTA is the first one that leads to further development in other games. I think it'd be pretty cool to further progress the video game industry. But one more news, I guess, this week is unfortunately a sad news that brings up a lot of memories. Is Bungie's turning off the archives, their servers basically that houses all the Halo stats and the any like screenshots and videos that you may have recorded or maps that you've created on their servers and stuff. Roger, what's your thoughts on this?
Honestly, it's one of those things that I'm surprised they haven't already done.
True.
It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt to hear. I assumed that all their old content, like from Halo 3 days and stuff, like I assumed that all that was gone. And, I assumed they would also have brought a lot of those stats forward for the Master Chief Collection,
Right,
but
but
it's
I wonder if they have their own separate thing.
maybe. But, so, I still long for the days of Bungie and Halo 3. That was one of the best times in my life, I think.
Yeah.
I think Halo 3 was like the pinnacle of gaming for me.
No, yes, I agree because
I home every day to
you
play.
you had a 360 before I did, probably for at least about a year or two, I believe. And I used to just come over to your house and we would just sit there and play Halo 3 all day long. Whether it was custom games or we were actually in Forge and creating our own maps or even going back and beating a campaign 97 times over on Legendary or whatever it was. Man, it was a lot of great times and a lot of great memories, and it's sad to see this piece of history come to a close completely.
But yeah, it costs money to run servers, and
Oh, yeah.
to support this infrastructure moving forward is difficult. Now, hopefully, maybe Bungie has handed off the reins to a lot of this data to 343. It's 343, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully 343 has this content because it's not Bungie's game anymore.
Right.
Bungie sold the rights, and at this point, 343 has made the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, aka ran the franchise into the ground.
They remastered them.
Right. Mason, what's your thoughts? 'Cause I know you probably dabbled into Halo a little bit back in the day.
I did. Yeah, my brother used to have the Xbox and Xbox 360 growing up. That was like the main console of the house before we got into PlayStation. But yeah, I used to play Halo 2 and Halo 3 a lot with my brother. But I don't think we really recorded a lot, or
Did you play online at all? Seems we have lost him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm saying, but it sounds like a very oppressive, predicament to have all those archives and just completely disappear, all those memories for people. Like I can understand like how sad that could be. If I had, videos of all the good times I played with my boys, and then they just gone. So I can't even watch them no more.
right. Well, at least they're providing a feature to you to be able to save your stats, like as like a PDF or something like. I forget what file they said that you can save it as, but you can basically like save everything that's on there, so you have like a copy of it. Because most people don't go back and play on the 360, like the Master Chief Collection's out, so and it makes no sense for the servers to still be up and running. But in the same sense, like damn, that's like historic.
It's closing of an era is the way to look at it.
It's definitely a great way to put it. Because you figure Bungie.net was such an iconic website. You're like, man, because like before like having phones and stuff like that, you were like, man, I gotta go get on my computer and check my stats because it wasn't built into the game. Like if you wanted to know your KD or your win-loss ratio, you had to go to this website. Or even when you were compete, because you had ranked play and then you also had casual play.
You had clans and friends lists and
right.
This was where the tournament scene was before the tournament scene.
Yeah, Call of Duty took over. Because you figure Halo 3 came out, and it was right around the time World at War came out. Because when I was over there playing Halo with you, we were also starting to play Nazi Zombies, the original Noctur on Totem map. So those were the two games that were going back and forth. And mind you, that means COD 4 with Modern Warfare just came out the year prior to that. And that was the beginning of Call of Duty. Multiplayer for sure. So like Halo 3 was probably at its peak for Halo's multiplayer, and that was at its infant stage for Call of Duties. and it was like a transitioning time.
Definitely, and it was one of the first games to really take the first person shooter into the realm it is. Because before Halo, you didn't really have as much. You had things like GoldenEye on the N64,
You had Quake and
but those
uh,
were on
those
PC, is what I
other,
would
yeah,
say.
those are like arena shooters.
Consoles, you didn't have shooters because to play a shooter, you had a mouse, and that was the thing. Like to move it to a console, the N64 had its set of controls, and it was unique in its own way. But to bring in the DualShock control and say, well, now what if one's move and the other one's aim,
Right.
and now having two thumbsticks, it lend itself. And I think Halo was that first big game that pushed
Right.
first person shooters as a game to move forward with.
Right, right. Yeah, can you think about it? Like, how did shooters really operate on the N64? Because it only had one joystick, and that middle one, and then you had a D-pad. So, like,
Yeah,
that's interesting that you
yeah,
controlled, like, movement was with the...
buttons, I guess. Yeah.
it's crazy to think. But, yeah, man, like you said it, good way to end the segment here is it's a happy way to close off, or sad way to close off a great time that we
And,
all...
and looking at chat, Spooky Crew's right, as what I said. FPS were mostly PC territory before Halo,
Oh,
and
yeah.
even then, Halo Combat Evolved
Was
was a PC game. It
Right.
was on PC, so it definitely. I think also with the fan base getting to more economic options for consoles with the rise of the 360, the PS2, and these consoles around this time, you could start building new games. And I think Halo being that game that you could take and do whatever you want with it, like mod it to your heart's content and play it. Like I played Halo on PC for a while there, and I thought it was the best thing. Almost Halo 3 was almost out, and Halo 1 Combat Evolved was still on PC and thriving online servers.
right, yeah. It's pretty crazy, man. No doubt.
Yeah.
Halo's a game that has been around for a long time, and hopefully 343 can make it up to us with Halo
Yeah.
Infinite, because 5 has been rough, and 4 was...
They're just riding an IP. Let's really hope. I really do hope they don't do us wrong.
Right, no doubt. But let's move on to our next topic. We're going to get into some of the game releases. We did mention earlier about some Mario games, but Mason, have you looked into playing like the Super Mario 3D Worlds and the Bowser Fury that comes out next month?
Yeah, I actually just watched the trailer today. It actually looked really fun. I know. They had a Super Mario 3D World before, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. This is like a remake of it.
A remake?
Yeah, it's re-released with additional stuff.
And that's Bowser's Fury.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Mario 3D World was on the, I want to say, Wii U.
I think so.
I didn't have that system.
Yeah.
Me neither. I had the Wii and then the Switch.
I had the Wii, but never the Wii U. Like we just never got it.
Yeah. Like for me, the Wii was a decent console, but I think it just didn't strike me as the console I wanted. I still was playing on my 3DS at the time.
Right. Right.
I think the Wii U really sold it for me as a console because I really liked the gamepad itself. I thought it lent itself well to a type of gameplay I missed. Like, have either of you ever played on the Dreamcast with the screen on the controller?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That console was ahead of its time.
Way ahead of
Really,
that.
and like take it further with that system. Like it was an awesome system.
Yeah, and having your own individual screen, I think, was a really interesting concept. And Mario 3D World was one of those games I really enjoyed. What games have you ever played before on, in the Mario franchise, the 3D franchise, I should say?
Who are you asking?
Me,
Either of you.
You can go ahead,
You know,
Mason.
only on N64 and 3DS and DS games were the only 3D Mario games that I ever actually played on. But
Okay.
Yeah, myself, I beat Mario Odyssey on the Switch. That one was a lot of fun. Mario 64 was a good one. I never had a GameCube, so any game that came out during that time, never played any of them. Don't think I played any on the Wii. Maybe Mario Party. I guess I played Mario Party since they've ever been out. Those have always been a good game. And then I've never had a Wii U, so no. I mean, and then I do have Mario. What is it, Mario and Rabbids or something like that on the Switch?
Yeah, that's on the Switch. But
That's a very interesting take on the Mario universe.
Well, it's
That was
an
interesting.
RTS game or a turn-based strategy game.
Right, right. It's fun. It's different, but it's not like the open. No, I can't say open world because Odyssey was kind of like one of the like top premier open world Mario games. Sorry, fumbling over my words there. But like,
64 was an open world game.
Yeah.
in a
It's
way, yeah, I guess it's same kind of concept. Yeah.
like Odyssey, you still had to go zone to zone and then do different things to collect stars or
Right.
moons in this case.
Right.
So
More or
it's
less the same game,
conceptually
but
still
just
the same
different
thing.
scale.
Instead of doing, a singular linear mission, though, you did, you could collect as many stars as you wanted in one playthrough.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Other than that, I never played any games on the Mario games on like the DS or anything like that. It was strictly just the main consoles. What about
Mhm.
you, Roger?
So I played a lot of Mario games in my day. Like I played all the way back to like Dr. Mario on like the
Oh,
Sega, like on the
are
the
you
the
talking about
original.
like the Tetris kind of game?
Yeah,
Mhm.
like the
Okay,
old Dr.
I've
Mario
played
games.
that.
I
Yeah.
played. I played like Super Mario, like the original Mario game, the side scrollers, and then I moved to N64 and played Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had kind of put it down after that. I played Sunshine because Elizabeth, my sister, had the GameCube, whereas I had the PS2, so I played Sunshine there. And honestly, Mario's always been a great game. Like, especially like Odyssey, the ability to play with your friends, to play with a friend. And Mario 3D World is one of my favorites in the series because it's a four-player game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can play up to four with three of your friends, you and
I
three
wonder if
friends,
they'll have that online multiplayer or co-op or whatever with the new one.
maybe. But the Switch isn't always the most friendly with online play.
You would hope it would because they got that subscription you got to pay for to have access to play online, which is
Yeah.
weird because the console's not really known for that. The console's more known for like a couch co-op.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of usually the direction they take with most of their games. Like even playing Smash Bros on online on the Switch, if you don't have an Ethernet cable, it's nigh unplayable.
It's cancer.
Oh, okay. Is it like kind of not kind of, but is it
But,
pretty laggy?
yeah,
The latency is huge. It
yeah.
is horrid. Like you'll hit a button, you're like, I got him, and then their thing goes through, and you're like, whoa, what?
They're like, wait a minute. No,
Hold
yeah.
up, and the game will stop until they catch back up, and then it'll go again.
Oh wow. Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's fun.
Yeah.
Not at all. But no, yeah, I definitely agree. Another Mario game that I've kind of played, I guess, is the one on the phone that came out, and it's like
Yeah,
the
Mario Run
like
or whatever.
I don't know if it's infinite, yeah, Mario Run, where it would like automatically run for you, and you just had to like jump. It was
Yeah.
it was cool. It was different, but
Yeah.
they tried. They tried to do something different.
Well, they
Like,
want to break into the mobile market.
Yeah, which is kind of smart, but apparently they're going to back off a little bit, I guess, because Nintendo itself, I guess, is not having the biggest success. Which is interesting to think because you would think they're known for having games that are mobile, given their DS library, and you think that they couldn't have just translated a lot of that into mobile games?
Yeah.
Like I just don't understand it. But are you guys going to be giving the Super Mario 3D Worlds and Bowser's Fury a try when it comes out? Or are you going to wait?
Probably,
What'd you say?
I'll probably give it a try myself.
Yeah, if it's $60, I don't know if I'll get it right away. It's kind of I'd like to play it in a party play scenario, and with COVID, I haven't really gotten to hang out with my friends recently because we used to play Smash Bros every night before we played D&D on Thursdays or on Wednesdays, and then during the mornings on Sunday before we started D&D, we'd play the crap out of Smash.
Right, right.
Sorry, in a year, not recently, Spooky Crew.
Yeah, I say, what is time? Time just doesn't exist anymore. Ever since COVID happened,
Is my way of coping. It's a coping mechanism. I'm sorry.
you're just like, yeah, it was recently. It was just the other day, last year.
Yeah,
But
like
no,
a
yeah, for sure.
whole Smash DLC list of characters recently.
Right, right. But yeah, we got another game that's coming out. Well, a game that's I guess kind of already out for PC, but Rust. I haven't really dabbled in the Rust, but Rust is coming to consoles, and I know it's a pretty big game on PC. Have you guys played Rust on PC at all, or played it?
I
So,
haven't.
do either of you know anything really about Rust?
No,
No.
I just know it's a shooter, and that's about it.
So, Rust is kind of like it's if you will like a Minecraft style game. It it's you drop in pretty much naked. Well, you do drop in naked. I'm sorry, you are completely 100% nude, and you just collect what's on the ground around you, and you try to get to zones where you can collect goods. And there,
So
it's
it's like a
kind of
battle
like
royale,
yeah, it's kind of like a battle royale, but it's not a battle royale in the sense that you drop in, try to survive to the end, and
so
you're the winner.
more of like a DayZ.
That you want to keep
I was about
punishing
to
yourself with.
say,
So you drop in, you can build whatever you want, you can make spawn points and stuff, but like the whole
Interesting.
idea is to compete with other players on a server to collect the most stuff. It's just a survival game, and it's all PvP. There's no like bad guys or anything in the game. It's literally just other players are the bad guys.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like it'll a game that might pique my interest, especially once it comes to console. I can't
Yeah,
really play any games that require a lot of.
and I'm not sure how they're going to do it for console because, like, the idea of the game is you pick the server, kind of like if you were playing DayZ or something
Mhm.
like that, where somebody sets a map, you know,
Right.
modifies the rules a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised if they enable like crossplay.
Mm. I would be if they enable crossplay. It'd be really cancerous for the people who aren't on PC because people on PC have an unfair advantage with shooting guns,
Right. Yeah.
and the whole game is pretty much find the gun, kill everyone else.
Yeah,
That's
that's crazy.
the premise of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I'm definitely going to give it a try once it comes to consoles, and maybe I'll
oh,
even
yeah.
give it a try on PC as well once I get
Yeah.
my graphics card.
If
Hopefully
you want to
next
give
month.
it a try, I would definitely get it on PC before you get it on console because depending on the price on console, it may not be worth it really. The game is, it doesn't have much
Hey
to it.
now, you see what chat says over here about aim assist for the peasants of console players.
But yeah, so it definitely, if you're into like a survival game, it's fun against
Right.
other people. But
So
once other people leave the game, so the game won't have any long-lasting effects. The game's gonna be what it is now, and that's it.
no,
So
okay.
as soon as the player base dies, the game dies.
Well, hopefully it stays alive long enough for me to give it a try.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Mason? You gonna dive into it, check it out at all?
I'll probably look into it. I gotta look at some gameplay maybe to see if I'm really interested in that. I really like DayZ. If it's anything like that, I probably would.
Conceptually, yeah, except you build your own base and you're not running from zombies, you're running from other players,
Yeah.
Right.
So it's just
It's just
strictly.
a survival game one way or another.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's pretty cool
And
nonetheless.
you always start naked, so, I've started naked and saw another naked player across the river from me, and we both picked up a rock and we beat each other to death. And the winner just walked away with the leg of the other person or the head or whatever you wanted to steal from their dead body.
Okay.
Oh man, yeah, that's great. Naked and Afraid, the game. That's great. That's great. But yeah, man. Any other last thoughts or any upcoming game releases y'all wanted to cover at all?
Nothing's going on right now, really.
Yeah,
that
this is
I-
usually one of the dead times of the year for games, so it's
Yeah,
understandable.
kind of getting over the winter season because most people have already released their games for Christmas.
Right, right. Yeah, there was a lot of heavy hitters during the holidays, and as everyone knows, that we're still trying to get through those games. So, thank
Yeah.
goodness that there's not a lot of stuff going on right now. But nonetheless, let's go into our last gaming topic. We kind of already touched on it a little bit here, but crossplay or even cross-platform. Should all games have crossplay and cross-platform? What do you think, Roger?
So, as we all know, I'm a PC player, and I believe that everyone should. If you have a game, you should just be able to play it with anyone. Like it really drives me nuts to my core. And this always dates back to the fact that you know each console had its own IPs. They had their games that were attached to their console and only their console. But with the invention of people being able to develop their game for multiple platforms, games became a lot easier to get a hold of for like, oh, I'm going to play it on the Xbox 360, you know, I'm going to play it on the PS3, you know, whatever you wanted to play it on, you could, but like I think the big issue here is getting getting to a point where you can have somebody's game servers talk with. So the issue becomes who hosts the game server. You know, is the
Right.
game server going to be hosted on Xbox's infrastructure or on Microsoft's infrastructure, or does the company who made the game have to host the infrastructure? And that's where the thing comes. If you want cross-play for everything, the person hosting the game is going to be the company that made the game. They have to host it because they have they have to have everybody be able to reach to them and play it. I think I think when it comes to cross-play and cross-platform, I think anyone should be able to play with anyone else in the world. You know, not everyone's rich enough to buy a PC. PCs are expensive. Like a game console is less than half the price usually of a fully fledged PC, and that's
Right.
like a PC of similar specs to the console. So, you know, and I think with that, the only cons to it are, you know, the ability to do things on PC that you can't do on a controller. And I think, you know, if you're going to play cross-platform, you need the ability to decide, I don't want to play with somebody on PC, or I don't want to play with somebody on console. Because say you're playing on PC and trying to play Rocket League, if you don't have a controller, good fucking luck. If you play with a keyboard and mouse, I don't know how. First
For
of all, I don't know
what,
how
Rocket League, you said?
yeah, like Rocket League, for example. You can play with somebody on a PS4 while you're on a PC. You have better graphics, but you're on a keyboard and mouse unless you buy a controller.
Right, no doubt.
So it's there's a lot to it, and getting companies to just say, yeah, you can play with whoever you want is going to be a problem. But I think it is the future of gaming. If everyone came together,
You see
if
chat.
everyone came together and actually was able to play on, you know, it would bring the gaming community together. I think the internet would be a lot less hostile. I think, like Reddit, for example. You know, there's PC Master Race versus the console peasants. It's a war
Hey
as
now.
old as time itself.
So silly.
Yeah, no doubt.
So-
Mason, what's your thought on the whole cross-play and cross-platform? Do you think all games should have it?
Not necessarily. They should definitely be very careful with certain games that they choose, like things like Fortnite, Call of Duty, and Halo, things like that, like shooters, multiplayer games like that. Or that's fine, as long as there's an option to turn it off if you would like to. So,
Right, which Call of Duty does, so that's good.
Fortnite used to have that option, and now it doesn't. Like you're just playing with PC players all the time, so they build at a very quick rate it's insanity, like how fast
Yeah,
they build
well,
compared to how fast I
Building
can
in
build.
Fortnite is why I don't play it no more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So if it gives the PC players have more competitive advantage in the video game than on consoles, then
Hmm.
it's self defeating. I wouldn't
Mhm.
put it in everything, and if you do put in everything, have the option for the player on the console or the PC to turn it off.
Right.
That's my thinking.
What I think though personally on that though is like Call of Duty did it there for a while and they reverted it, but they allowed crossplay no matter what system you played on, but then they changed it to it was like more of like an input um, separation. So like if you were playing with a keyboard and mouse, because you can play with the keyboard and mouse on your Xbox if you want. So they would group all keyboard and mouse players together versus all controller players together, no matter what system you were on, whether it's PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. They just grouped you by input versus console or stuff like that. Which I think if games could adapt that kind of feature, yeah, why not? Why not do it? Because it would make more sense. Because like you were saying, PC has way more advantages over a controller sometimes, but there are some cases where a controller is better to use versus because even like Spooky Crew said, playing a Lego game with a mouse and keyboard, he said it's a nightmare. I never tried it, but that might be a great example of not a game that you want to play with a mouse and keyboard with.
Like try to play a Dark Souls game with a mouse and keyboard, like or a fighting game. Trying to play a fighting game, any fighting game,
You
without
might be fighting
a
your
controller.
keyboard more than anything.
Yeah, like, or even just like, you know, a joystick, like an old arcade machine. You know, that to like a controller in your hand. Trying to play with a keyboard and mouse is a nightmare, in my opinion.
Right.
You know, I just don't think it's very, very fun. So I've always played, like, I beat all 3 Dark Souls on my PC. but I played it with a controller.
Right. So Mason, when you would do crossplay on Fortnite, would you turn it off or would you keep it on before building became a crazy thing?
Yeah, it became a lot crazier over time. Like when it first started, it wasn't that bad at all, and then like as the seasons went on, like the PC players kind of like took it over, and now it's mostly PC players playing in any lobby. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
definitely, no doubt. It's crazy.
but
Like you hop in a game and you hit a person with one bullet, and they build a new skyscraper, and you're like, "Yep, I'm done."
that is just impeccable, man. Like they don't miss. They're hitting you square in the forehead. It's just to aim with a mouse. I think is just so much easier if you've been playing with PC most of your
Right, right.
gaming.
It's definitely
Well,
an adjustment. Like if you play it with keyboard and mouse, it's easy. But I've just recently hopped on a PC, and granted, yeah, I'm running like 10 frames a second without a GPU. In Valorant, it was hard for me to aim on that game. Where if I was playing with a controller, I think I'd probably be like spot on. But that's just because I played with a controller for I don't know, probably 50-60% of my
Give
life.
yourself, a month on keyboard and mouse, and you'll start to get better than you were on the controller. Because as long as you have the innate reflexes, you're fine. The
Right,
game, the input is a lot smoother.
right. Yeah, no doubt.
Think we're-
But do you think, Mason? Do you think crossplay or cross-platform is the future of gaming? Like, is that going to be like a staple in the future?
I thought it was the present already. Honestly, any
No doubt.
game with shooters and stuff like that, they can all be made into cross
Well,
platform.
we all know the biggest problem with it, or the culprit, I should say, is Sony and PlayStation. They're the ones who are refusing to participate most of the times. Like PC and Xbox work because they're Microsoft, and then the
Yeah.
Switch is down to do it, and then here we got PlayStation doesn't even want to do anything.
It's the only thing I'm really ashamed of with Sony is that they're just so against this cross platform scene. I don't get what the problem is.
I think
Right.
it's going to detract from their audience. Is the idea if people start seeing, oh well, the PC's better. Why am I buying this? Their only thing is exclusives now, and for the most part, like I only buy a PS4 for the exclusives.
Right, no doubt.
Yeah.
I have a PS4 sitting there, and all the games you can see behind me are all exclusive games. Pretty much, I have a couple games that I was given that were for free, and they're cross-gen games. But when I buy the PS5 in the future, it's only going to be for the exclusives, like the new God of War or the Horizon Forbidden West games like that, so I can dive into them. But like you said, other than that, I'm an Xbox and soon-to-be PC gamer, so. But it'd be cool because I am making that transition to PC gaming. I still want to be able to play. I have a ton of friends on Xbox. I still want to be able to play most, if not all, my games with them as well. So I don't want to have to like choose between like, I guess I gotta boot up my Xbox versus
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Because if people start enabling crossplay, I think we'll start to see the death of consoles because everyone's going to start moving to PCs. They can do so much more. So why not just consolidate all of your consoles into one?
right.
That's the problem.
But yeah, the benefit though is because Xbox is owned by Microsoft and they make PCs, making those compatible with crossplay or almost it's like second nature for them. Like it makes it work. The infrastructure's there, the system is there. I mean, heck, the UI and the actual system software on the Xbox is a Windows 10 like base platform behind it, so like it all works and communicates really well. And most of their games that are made by Microsoft Game Studios is basically play anywhere titles. Like you can buy it once and then have it on both your PC and Xbox, which is really cool. But what any last thoughts on the crossplay and platform before we move on?
I'm all for it though.
No, I think what I've said is what I say. It's the way of the future. It's going to probably start killing off consoles in the long run, but I think it's going to be the best for everyone at this point because why make the same game for 4 consoles? If we get one game, if we start unifying and things get towards less consoles, developers don't have to worry about making the game work on 4 different consoles.
Right. Let's see what happened to Cyberpunk.
Yeah, that was freaking tragic. I just got my refund the other day.
You went and got a refund for it?
I need a refund. I was not feeling it at all.
Well,
It wasn't me.
I got a question for you then before we move on to the last topic here. What system were you playing Cyberpunk on?
PS4 Pro.
The PS4 Pro, and you were still having issues.
I wasn't having any issues. I just didn't like the game
Oh,
personally. I
Okay.
didn't care
so he
for
just took advantage of the whole refund situation.
it. Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's. I think it's an excellent game. The more I play it, the more I love it. But I always do run into, well, gotta reload. Something's broke again.
Yeah, but the thing is, I was running into those issues with Assassin's Creed. Honestly, like I would be stuck in like a falling animation, and I'd be like standing on the ground, but it's like, oh, I'm falling, and it would never land, I guess per se. And then I would like, fuck it, I just gotta hit load a save point and be
Yeah,
right back
same.
into it. So games are gonna have those issues, honestly. But then again, Roger, you play on PC, so the PC version of Cyberpunk is probably I mean, all the reviewers are reviewing it PC version like 8 or 9 out of 10, almost a 10 out of 10. But
And you
console
have to
reviews
have
are
a
getting
good,
like threes and
yeah,
fours. So
yeah. Without a good rig, the game is very hard to play, and
right,
that just means even like a moderately decent rig. It's like the lucky you, Spooky Crew, because I've had tons of glitches and stuff. Just like I'll walk up and trash bags, like 100
yeah,
trash bags
just
spawn, and it's
fall.
just confetti of trash bags.
No, yeah, I mean, we can go on and on about Cyberpunk as we always do, but no, yeah, hopefully they improve it over the next year, and they can keep
Oh
their
yeah.
fan base. But enough of the game talk. Let's move on to our last topic of the day. It's going to be not as a serious topic, but and it'll be a similar topic to the gaming world. But we'd like to talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Phase 4 has just come out. I know Mason, you're a huge fan, and how big of a fan are you?
I'd like to. I think I'm a pretty big fan of it, man. I've watched the movies like several times over. You know, I'm just I'm almost infatuated with it at this point. Like I'm excited for every single thing that they put out. I can't explain why, other than that I just thoroughly enjoy every film. You know?
Right,
and
no
and
doubt.
world that they create and all this stuff that they can come up with on their own. Like they can take their own like route with it, like they did with Thanos and the Infinity
Hmm.
War and Endgame. It changed his character a little bit. It actually made him cooler to me as a character. So
Right,
I
right.
enjoy it.
I mean, you love the franchise so much that you even got some ink done. If you want
Yes,
to,
yes, sir.
you want to show that off.
Yes, sir. Hold on. Got Thanos right here, all up
Cool.
and down my
That's
arm
a
here.
true fan right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nonetheless. I mean, um, Roger, what's your thoughts on the Marvel universe? I know you're not as big of a fan as Mason here, but
I think the Marvel universe is nice and all. I like some of the movies. It's just not like I'm head over heels for the universe itself. I'm more of a DC guy. I like my DC
boo.
superheroes, but I don't like the
That's
movies. The movies are bad. That's the thing. Like there are very few good DC movies, and that's where the budget comes from too. But I
Exactly, spooky crew.
yeah, you know, and I'm not a big fanboy, and it almost feels culty to me, way too culty, and it's a turnoff almost with how culty, just like Star Wars to me.
Hey, now,
The
now you
new
now you
three,
touching into my realm.
yeah. So that's the thing. I definitely went to go see Infinity War in person, and I watched it through the whole way. I'm one to sometimes have to get up in the middle of the movie and take a piss break. I sat there for the entirety of the movie because I just couldn't unglue myself from it. I liked it. But then there's
Right.
other movies where I'm like, yeah, it was all right. It wasn't anything special.
No,
But I
yeah,
definitely
I
have to
definitely
say
agree.
that they are good movies. Don't get me wrong. They are really well. They're really well put together. They have a great budget. They have great animations. Like,
Shit, I hope they have a great budget.
yeah, that's the thing.
And they
Yeah,
got that Disney
yeah,
budget, so everything's
They got
working
that
out.
Disney money.
Yeah, and Spooky Crew's right. They're okay at their worst. So
Right,
it's
which is
like,
better than most movies that are ever created, which is crazy to think about.
like like at worst, a lot of movies are garbage, complete
Right.
garbage. Like, why did I waste money? If I spent money to go see a Marvel movie in theaters, I'm not wasting my money. But
Right.
it's not like I'm gonna jump up to do it. If I can watch it for free, I'd rather just watch it for free.
No, yeah, I agree. So, I mean, myself, I probably fall right in between you guys. Like, I'm not like a super fanboy like I am with Star Wars, but I'm also not one of those people who like who prefers DC over Marvel. I really enjoy Marvel. As you can see behind me, I got some props here with Spider-Man, Iron Man, Wolverine, and stuff. I like how they connect the universe. It's just one of those things that it reminds me of the Star Wars universe because like there's all these stories, especially now with the future, and now we got Thanos. He's about to snap his fingers away, and we're all about to disappear. But Star Wars is a evolving universe too, and with the introduction with the Mandalorian series and stuff. So like that's been growing, and I think Star Wars took a cue from the MCU. I mean, granted, yes, they're both owned by Disney, so that might have a little bit to do with it. But the Marvel universe is great, and even like I introduced a topic. We're in phase 4 that they call now. It's like the first 3 phases consist of what, like 26 movies, 22 or 26 movies, something like that, not including the TV series. So phase 4 just kicked off last week with WandaVision. What's your thoughts on that, Mason? I know you probably have watched it already.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes there. It's interesting, very different. You know, nothing's really taken off quite yet in the series. I'm assuming it's going to pick up soon. Something did happen, not to give anything away, but like there's progression finally. So, and I'm hearing like a lot of people like saying like it's not very MCU. It's just not like what they're used to. It's like it's
Right.
give it a minute. Like it's starting. It's setting itself up. But I
Right.
like it.
Right, I agree with the Spooky Crew. Fun fact: the showrunner for The Mandalorian also directed the first Iron Man movie, or at least most of them, Jon Favreau. So that's definitely a fun fact there. But no, I definitely agree with the WandaVision. Though I watched the first 2 episodes when they came out last week, and I actually got my girlfriend to watch it. She's not really big into those movies, and she was like, "That was good, but it was really weird." Because, like you said, it's something way out of the realm of what we're used to when it comes to Marvel movies or Marvel just in general. It's a sitcom right now, and they took different cues and different things from old sitcoms from back when that was a thing. So I thought that was pretty cool, a nod to the past and stuff like that. But what throws the TV series like out there is like, if people don't know the actual Wanda character from the comic books, she can actually create like an alternate like reality kind of thing, and many speculations are saying that that's what she's doing right now because if you haven't seen the movies, Vision's dead, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He is dead.
So him to be in this TV series has to have Marvel fans like, what's going on here? Like, how is he alive? Like, what is going on? So, like, I think they definitely have those fans who are fan of the universe, like, hooked right now because they're just like, I need to know what's going to happen because, like, this stuff is too, like, friendly and happy and, like, there's nothing really bad going on. And it definitely has you, like, wonder more. But, with Roger, have you checked it out yet at all?
No, I saw the little title poster for it online, but I didn't take the time to really watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of the Marvel TV shows. I would rather watch other TV shows, to be honest.
No, yeah, I agree. I personally don't think I've watched many of the Marvel TV series either. This is probably one I'm actually going to finish. But I think the whole introduction to Disney Plus and having these new TV shows has just a new way of telling stories because I already mentioned The Mandalorian. I think Star Wars and I think Marvel will be a great medium to be, or like material to present in the TV style format because like sometimes 2 hours or in Endgame's instances 3 hours isn't really long enough to tell the whole story, and then they have to like rush through everything as opposed to TV series. The WandaVision is 9 episodes long, 30 minutes each, and I think it ends up to being like 6 hours long, all grouped together. So like you can tell more story, but it does take time. But going back to that, I've seen a lot of the negative feedback because of how weird it is. And people were saying, like, do you think Disney should have just released all 9 episodes at once and let people binge through it? Or do you think they releasing these episodes like that will keep people hooked? What's your thoughts, Mason?
I think they're only putting it episode for episode because people would only be watching it mostly for, like, they would only have the Disney Plus account just to watch the MCU shows. So they would lose money if they released it all at once and they binge watched it all at once and then they, canceled the subscription until Loki came out or until Captain Falcon. I keep calling Captain Falcon Falcon and the Winter Soldier come out.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's the next one that comes out soon, I believe.
yeah, I think that's in March. And then
Yeah, I don't know if I had it
May.
written down, but I just have the dates for stuff coming out. There, I mean, there's tons of stuff coming out over the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
One of the next big movies that are coming out is Black Widow, which was supposed to come out in 2020, but due to the pandemic, that kind of screwed that over a bit. What's your outlook on the Black Widow coming out?
Me or
Yeah, you, Mason. Sorry.
Black Widow. It's a prequel, right? I believe it's a prequel to the events that happened.
You would think, right? Because she's also dead.
Yeah, she's also dead. Thing is, I think they're trying to bring back her character because I'm not sure if you guys saw the most recent news is that Chris Evans is reprising his role as Captain America.
Captain America, yeah.
In what way, I'm not sure. I'm assuming they're gonna do like a series where they show him when he went back in time to put the stones back from an Endgame before he came back as an old man and saw
Right.
Falcon.
Which, fun fact,
So-
apparently Stan Lee was supposed to play Old Man Cap, but he died before they could film that scene. I forget where I read that, but that was a fact that I saw. I was like, And
That's
that would like
depressing.
really explain like a lot of things, like all the characters he apparently played in. Like he would have been Old Man Cap in every movie.
That would have been very cool.
But go ahead and sorry not to interrupt on your thoughts there. What all were you saying about Black Widow?
With Black Widow, I'm thinking if he he puts the stones back where he found it, because you know how Black Widow and can't remember his freaking name. Dude with the arrows.
Hawkeye?
They were up on that planet where they got the Soul Stone,
Yeah.
and she had to sacrifice herself to get the Soul Stone, so he could go back in time and have the Soul Stone. If he returns that, would she get her soul back?
Right.
Like, would she come back to life? Would they reprise her role in that way? This is just a theory in my
Yeah,
mind.
who knows? I mean, with the whole
what
Doctor
would-
Strange in the Multiverse supposed to come out, that movie's really gonna mess with the entire universe, honestly, because like,
Well, and that's the other thing to remember. You guys are thinking about comics like they're linear. Comics aren't linear. Comics
Yeah.
are always rewritten all the time. Like Batman dates back to the 30s.
oh no, yeah,
And
yeah, no doubt.
Batman used to be a guy rocking a gun and would just shoot people to death. That was Batman. He ran around killing people.
But that's
like,
not much of a hero.
you know,
But the Batman we
they-
got now.
Yeah, you have so many different stories, and that's something you got to take away when you're watching this. It's like, well, when do they decide to rewrite the story? Because they've already rewritten Hulk. They rewrote that once. They've rewritten. Now they're going to be rewriting the Fantastic Four movies. They've rewritten.
Yeah, I agree,
the
but
X-Men.
a lot of those rewrites aren't. Some of the Marvel stuff isn't even in the MCU, so we got to keep that in mind, because like the Deadpool series 1 and 2 is not part of the MCU
It isn't.
at all, but apparently Deadpool 3 is supposed to be part of the MCU, which will be really cool. But but it also got to think about is Disney couldn't include them because they didn't own Fox yet. That's probably why.
Yeah, it's all licensing based, and comics, they change their story or they do whatever they want when they want to. So, at any point they could just hit the reboot button on something and we're going to start again.
Right. Well, I think at the rate that they're going, they're continuing the story of the MCU because how everything's laid out. I mean, but going back on the Doctor Strange movie, because the multiverse, because he can manipulate time and stuff like that, because he has which stone does he have? Is it the time one?
Yes, time stone.
Yeah. So like he can go back in time and change things and change the past. So like he's going to be a very interesting character, because apparently this is all rumored that I've seen that, and that fake trailer that came out with the Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie is supposed to incorporate all 3 Spider-Mans from like all the most recent movies with like Tobey Maguire and I forget the other guy's name. But all 3 Spider-Mans are supposed to be in it, so it kind of like includes the that Spider Into the Spider-Verse that was on Netflix. So like all of that's going to start coming together and whatnot. So I mean, they got a lot lined up over the next 2-3 years. I mean, seeing this list of content.
realities, alternate dimensions. It's just something you write into comics. Comic book nerds are usually sci-fi nerds as well, and
Right.
talking about just the butterfly effect alone, just one small change and everything changes. So who knows? They could just start writing new stories now.
No, yeah, for sure. And you talking about like just writing in with these like alternate like timelines and stuff, and it's interesting to think like Star Wars could potentially do the same thing because it was introduced in Rebels with the world between worlds is like time altering, time bending thing, and it's been rumored that like Disney will change universes and the new sequel trilogy will be like its own separate thing and everything else going forward will be all new and different. So like I kind of hope they don't do that. In the same sense, I hope they do because like I really hated the sequels and there's some parts I enjoyed, but oh boy did they kind of mess that one up. Goddamn Kathleen Kennedy, she ruined Star Wars for me. But yeah, Mason, what are some of the movies that are coming out or TV shows that you're looking forward to?
I'm definitely looking forward to Loki the most because I'm just glad to see his characters, back. It's not the same Loki that we had, so it's like back to the bad, evil Loki.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be very interesting.
When was he ever good?
He was getting better toward the end. Like after Ragnarok, he started, being more like friendly with Thor and then, getting along a lot better. He wasn't too much of a mischief maker. And like even like toward the end, like where he did that really dumb stunt in Infinity War where he tried to stab Thanos in the neck and he killed him right in the first like 5 minutes of the movie, and then that was it. We never saw him again. That was depressing as hell. Like I was so upset. And now to see him, coming back, from a different timeline,
right.
It actually looks very, very good.
Well, so you're really into Loki, and also going back on the Assassin's Creed thing. Have you gone and played the Asgard mission?
I did play the Asgard mission, yeah.
So you get to see Loki and stuff, and it's pretty cool how like Marvel did a really good job because what's in Valhalla is basically like a really accurate depiction of like the mythology of with all that with like Thor and Loki and stuff like that, and then seeing it in Marvel, I was just like, They kind of like all like line up and make sense. Like they're basically idea like the same character more or less. Like they did a really phenomenal job behind it.
Thor is literally a ripoff. Is all it is. He just wrote his own stories and then integrated it with the MCU over the years of writing Marvel comics. Thor is all just Norse mythology with extra details that he made up.
Exactly. So I mean, I thought that was pretty cool to see that in Assassin's Creed after watching this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I definitely agree. Loki's going to be an interesting show. Any other ones that stand out to you that are coming out?
Falcon. What are the other ones coming out? Yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier looks pretty dope. I almost cried freaking seeing.
Thor's public domain. That's interesting to know. Thanks, Spooky Crew.
But, what are the other shows coming out? Oh, I think those are the only three, right? For now. And What If is another TV show.
I'm interested in that one.
Yeah, alternate versions of like stuff that happened in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty interesting. I don't know when that comes out yet.
What If is slated for this year, but who knows?
Hawkeye. I haven't seen much news about Hawkeye. There's not even like a trailer or anything for that. She-Hulk is coming out. They announced Moon Knight.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That's the thing with superhero movies is like I get it where like we could probably say like 90 to 99% of all superhero characters are guys. Well, they really are trying their hardest now to try and make like female versions. I know they're in comic wise there are female versions of like a lot of these characters.
There are female versions everywhere. Like
but it's like comics, why is that a thing? Like why do we got to be like why can't we create their own character? Like why make Hawk? Oh, we're just going to go She-Hulk. Or Thor is going to because like the new Thor movie it's going to be a female Thor now. Like, why?
Well,
make a new character.
In the stuff, there's always the main character, and it's always written from the perspective of old comics. It's it's a male-dominated world. Women weren't into comic books really in the same way that men were. That was the target audience when you were writing these things.
Mm-hmm.
So you had things like Batman, and then they're like, oh, but there's a Batwoman, and there's Catwoman, but there's no
Yeah.
Catman.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, they did good there.
Yeah, and like as Spooky Crew said, they're not always associated as well. It's not like there's always a flip side to a coin. It's She-Hulk isn't really associated with Hulk. It's just she has the same power, so they call her the same thing.
I don't think she got her powers the same way he did.
Exactly. That's the thing. She has the same conceptual design as a character, but
Right.
she's not the same character.
They're the same thing, got it different ways.
Yeah.
But they're different, but they're the same.
Sure.
They
Sure.
just they use the same names as the idea.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking at the list here, though, some of the stuff that I'm looking forward to is definitely that Doctor Strange movie. I think that's one that's really going to have like a pivotal point in the universe for sure. It'll be pretty cool to see Blade and Fantastic Four directed. See if it's part of the MCU to begin with. I think it'll be pretty cool to start seeing the Fantastic Four crew and also like the Wolverine and the mutants. I guess they would be called, to see if they're part of the MCU or not, or if they're just going to keep them as their own separate thing. Like you could imagine it now, like Wolverine, Deadpool, and fucking like Iron Man going to fight something. Like, come on, man.
That's amazing.
Well, and the thing is, like, normally Deadpool is in the X-Men series. Like, he messes with the X-Men characters. But then again, remember, the big thing that we're missing here is Deadpool and Spider-Man. Those two are like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Those two. Yeah, when you like,
Comic book.
yeah, they have their own comic books. They're an iconic duo where Deadpool is the comic relief and Spider-Man is the actual intellectual in the scenario. And
Right.
we're missing some of these good things. Like, we don't need just to mash up everyone. Just pick the ones that are good foils for each other.
Right. And Spooky Crew talking about the Lady Hawkeye is way cooler. What's her name? Because she was actually just added into the Avengers game. She was like the first additional character. I forget her name, but she has like her own name. But it's like the same. It's the same character. Unless it is Hawkeye. Am I mistaken?
It's his daughter, I think.
Oh yeah, I forget who it is. Well, no, I mean maybe in the MCU it is, but I think it's a different person altogether in the game, because like apparently you can play as Hawkeye, but then you can also play as her. I don't know. This universe can be very confusing sometimes.
Well,
But-
yeah, that's what I said before. The universe is older than us. It's been written by, each comic's been written by sometimes 3 different people.
Right, no doubt. I mean, because you figured that some of these comics have been out for 100 years, roughly, maybe. I'm not sure
90
when the
years,
beginning.
like 90 years, I
Yeah.
think, is like some of the oldest ones.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But what about you, Roger? What are some of the movies that are coming out that you're?
If I had to choose like the ones I was going to watch out of all this, I'd watch Thor probably. I like Thor. I've always liked the comedy of Thor, not like the original ones, more like the later Thors. I did enjoy. I do
Kate
really
Bishop, that's who it
enjoy
is. Thank
Doctor
you, Spooky
Strange.
Crew.
Yeah. I like Doctor Strange. I think he's probably one of my favorite characters just because he's sort of that reluctant hero.
Right.
Other than that, I wanted to read the Moon Knight comics. So like I thought he was an interesting character, so maybe I might see that. But other than that, I don't know. There's nothing really that grabs me and says this is what I want to see. Like, Black Panther was okay as a movie. It's not like I was like, oh, it's amazing. I was like, it's a movie to me.
I beg to differ.
It didn't teach their own. There's nothing wrong with that.
Which
I thought.
that's going to be a very interesting movie that does come out, Black Panther 2, because obviously they haven't even started filming. So, with the whole passing of Bossman, R.I.P. It'll be interesting to see how they go about that. Like, obviously they're not going to recast him. That's already been confirmed. So whether like the chick takes his place, or however they handle it, I think that'll be one of the most intriguing movies to see out of all of these, just to see how they handle it. What's your thoughts on that, Mason?
I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of different rumors of what they're going to do. I know they're not going to recast him for sure. But that leaves the question, like, what's the plot going to be? How does he make his exit from the universe without him actually, being there in the movie? Are they going to CGI him at one point? Like, I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Which
Just
clearly Disney's not afraid of doing.
Yeah, exactly. They do plenty in Star Wars.
Yeah,
But
especially with the season 2 finale of Mandalorian, which is
that was an
had
insane
me
amount.
shaking and fucking crying.
Yeah, it was, the hype was real in that episode.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I'll probably go back and watch it a few more times. That episode was just it's the best thing out of Star Wars since Revenge of the Sith or Rogue One. I
That,
really enjoyed Rogue One, but
yeah.
because like Rogue
Rogue
One,
One
we
was
got to see Darth Vader at like see his true like power like he can use. Because like you figure in the original trilogy, we didn't really get to see Darth Vader. Like he just looked old and slow. We're just like, all right, cool. He looks
Yeah.
cool. But then like at the end of Rogue One in that hallway where he just annihilates anything and everybody. It's such a badass scene, and then to see Luke kind of go through that exact kind of scene,
mm,
that was just the mirroring of that was epic. But any of these on the list that I sent you here, like that you may not know of that are like that you're intrigued about, Mason?
uh, I would say Moon Knight for sure, because I do not know anything about him whatsoever. I only know what he looks like, but like outside
Right,
of that, I have no idea what his character is. I'm excited to see new characters, you know.
right.
So
Instead of the same ones over and over.
Fantastic Four a billion times. We've done Iron Man and everybody else, you know, like they've all had their trilogies and whatnot. Spider Man's about to get his third. I'm excited for that one because of the possible multiverse that they're gonna go with in that movie. You know, bringing in all the other Spider Mans and making them canon to the universe as well would be it's gonna be insane if they do that. It's gonna be like Endgame level to me.
Right, right. Yeah, no doubt. What about you, Roger? Any of these stick on the list that you may not even know anything about that kind of intrigues you about at all?
Um, so I'm the only two. I think there's only one in there, two in there that I wouldn't know. Three, yeah, three of them that I don't know who they are or what they are. Like I don't know Secret Invasion, Ironheart, or Armor Wars, but like you know, Armor Wars almost strikes me as a title. It almost strikes me as like a giant mech title you would use.
Yeah,
But
or
other than that,
like a Civil War
I'm
movie.
aware of most other characters in there.
Right. What I think one that intrigues me is the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I really don't know
Mhm.
anything about that. Like I don't know
I
about
don't
you
know.
guys. I don't remember reading the comics, seeing the comics. I don't even know who the main hero would be in that. To be honest with you, is it Shang-Chi? I guess.
Yeah. I don't know nothing about him either.
Um, it's just one of their sort of Eastern settings.
Yeah. So I think that's
Yeah.
one that definitely intrigues me. And then like the Internals, I faintly know a little bit about it, but not even much where I can't even really elaborate on it. But I think two of those two are ones that like really stand out to me the most. And then of course the ones you mentioned, Roger, I'm in the same boat. Never heard of them to be honest, and don't know where they could go. But one that I do know, but I'm interested to see what kind of show they come out with is I Am Groot. Like, is that going to be just like a comedy kind of thing, or like because all he says clearly is I am Groot, I am Groot. Like,
Well, as long as you have a translator, you know what he's actually saying.
right. But it's just like,
You
but
just need a
how
translator.
long of a show can you make of someone just saying I am Groot, and you're just sitting there reading something?
Well, the follow up is though you have other characters, so they're
You would
going to be
hope.
reacting to Groot.
Right, right. But how? Like, I don't know if it's a movie or a TV series, but like, how long could you really potentially just deal with that? The entire
Well,
movie, the
that's
entire
the
show.
thing. The follow up to that is Groot and what's his name? The raccoon, Rocket.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, Groot and Rocket, they have their own comics. They are their
yeah,
own duo. So like,
right,
they don't have to be with the rest of the team. They are their own thing. Like
right.
they actually do crossovers where they're in other Marvel Universe stuff with just Groot and Rocket. And people are
Mm.
like, "Who's this angry raccoon?" And Rocket's like, "My name's Rocket, thank you." And he just gets real fucking pissed at everyone. And Groot's just like the casual dude. So it may even be the duo of them without the rest of the team.
Right.
Mm.
That'd be interesting to do
Oh,
like a little bit of a spin-off because like obviously we're getting Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And that's always like a like the comedy relief I guess of all of the
Mhm.
movies. Like obviously, all the Marvel movies do have like a funny parts here and there, but like I feel like the entire movie of Guardians is always just like
It's always a
casual,
ride.
laid back, like just
Yeah,
funny.
Yeah.
in terms of
And
seriousness.
I think I Am Groot can be like a spin off of that. Like maybe like you were mentioning, like two of them just go off on like their own thing. And
Mhm.
like as you can see in Guardians of the Galaxy, there are other worlds other than Earth. I mean, it's kind of explored in some of the other movies too, but maybe they go to another world and like and explore that way. No, it's definitely not the best one. You're gonna have to fight me. You have to throw these hands up. Mason,
It's a
Spooky
solid
Crew says
movie. I liked it.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the best MCU movie. What's your thoughts, Mason?
False. That's
Yeah,
that's
false.
that's
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Yeah, sorry, Spooky Crew, you might have to fight us. But all right. Yeah. So what's the future of like after Phase 4? Obviously, it's a long list, 2-3 years worth, maybe 4 years worth.
The
Do
same
you think
thing they
keep
do with
going?
Batman. Rinse, repeat. That's it. That's what I was
Well,
saying earlier.
but
It's
that's the
rinse
thing.
and repeat.
Like after Phase 4, like do they go to a Phase 5 or do they start back over with one?
I don't
Whatever
see
they
that.
want to do. Honestly, it's did the new characters work? Did people enjoy them? Did the crowds like them? We need to make money because we're Disney. Did it sell? If it doesn't sell, rebrand the stuff that did. Iron
Right.
Man. Rebrand Iron Man. Let's start from the beginning and go through another storyline. They can do things over and over again. There's so much in the Marvel Extended Universe. Just like each hero has like 10 of their own villains. So
Right.
let's just fight another villain this week.
Right.
It's going to become villain of the week kind of thing. I can tell for years to come. Like Batman, for example. Batman dates back to the 80s and 80s or 70s in movies and TV show, you know. So it's going to keep getting reused, and sometimes they may start telling stories from the other perspective, like Joker, for example, in DC. They're now telling the story from Joker's perspective instead of Batman's, and it's a whole different story where Joker creates Batman instead of Batman creating Joker.
Which one is
They
that?
can the new movie Joker that happened in DC.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
with
I didn't
Joaquin
think that was
Phoenix.
him creating Batman. Apparently, that's not the same Joker as like Joker and all the other ones.
No, but
Apparently,
the thing,
like this Joker is like a psychological, like
there's multiple versions of Joker. Remember that.
yeah, I know.
But the thing is, like in the scene, I could have sworn there was a scene at the end there where Bruce Wayne's parents get shot
Yeah,
during the riots. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's the Joker creating Batman instead of Batman creating the Joker. So there's so many ways you can run a comic book movie, and the idea is comic books aren't set in stone.
right.
There isn't one story. You can make up your own stories. Now, fanboys may get angry at that, but it's you can do whatever you want. It's a comic book. The idea is you take the characters and you throw them into an event, and here we go. That's
No
kind of
doubt.
where they stand.
Yeah, I
So-
definitely like the idea of maybe visiting like different views of the universe and the events that may have happened, maybe from the villain side, because I think Star Wars is apparently, I think, trying to do that with the Acolytes TV series or movie, whatever it happens to be, because that's going to take place like from the views of the Sith. And I think what it's rumored to be is set during the High Republic era, which is this new time period that they're exploring right now with the first book that just came out this month. So that'll be interesting to see like the dark side, or like from like, because we always think the rebels and everybody are the good people, but like, are they really the good people?
Not necessarily.
What's that?
No, not necessarily. Like both sides have their,
Right.
neither side or bad innately, And I
Right.
really like the Corsair, by the way. I'm a huge fan of that too.
But you think about it, like all the movies, like we're always presented with like these are the good guys and these are the bad guys. But what really determines that? And I think it'd be cool to see both sides of it, because I think they're actually doing it in The Walking Dead. Apparently, they're supposed to go back and make like a Negan series and like the Governor series, because like those are bad guys to us because we think Rick and all them are the good guys. But what about these guys as well? Like they're trying to do the same thing, survive and whatnot. So I mean, that's kind of getting a little bbit off topic, but there are different ways to approach it. It'd be interesting to see what they do. But
that's just how storytelling is. It's reusing the same story, just telling it a different way. That's how storytelling works. And honestly, I don't see Marvel dying anytime soon because they're a multi-million-dollar industry. The comics are still being written every day, so after this section of this block of movies is done, who knows? They may even expand this block of movies. It's just their phase 4 is what they're calling it, but
Right, right,
it's just another step in what they're doing. To me, honestly, I think we're gonna see the same a volume of content coming out at every turn of the corner, because we're hitting critical mass for too much content, but at the same time, like, how many things were released in phase 3 over how many years? You're looking at almost 20 things here across 3 years.
right, right. No, no, yeah. I think my opinion, I think a lot of this stuff might get pushed back. To be honest, due to the pandemic, I think that'll
Yeah.
help spread out the content because, like you said, I think too much content is not good as well. But you also don't want it to be like, man, it's been like forever since we got to watch anything like Star Wars or Marvel, whatever the case may be, like whatever you're really into. Because I mean, you think about it like Star Wars, like between Revenge of the Sith and I mean, we have the Clone Wars and the Rebel series.
Well,
but
you also
like,
have to build hype too, and if you just have content overload, there's no chance to build hype.
right, right. So definitely taking a break here and there, kind of like I guess taking this whole year because 2020 actually was the first year that there was no new Marvel stuff. That was the first time since like what 2012. I don't know, long time. It's been a while, which is crazy to think how time flies by, for sure. But no, yeah, definitely. There's a lot to look forward to from all the movies to the TV series and stuff like that. So it'd be cool to see the introduction of a lot of these new characters because, like, looking at the list here, it is a lot of new stuff. It's not like, hey, we got another Iron Man movie. Hey, we got it. Like, yeah, there's some Thor stuff, but the Thor movie,
they're trying to new territory.
right?
They
The Thor movie
wanna-
is the passing from guy Thor to female Thor. That's basically going to be the story. And in Spider-Man, could be introducing the Into the Spider-Verse, so you see all the Spider-Man maybe in a live-action version. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is just going to be just the comedy part, like I mentioned before. But like I said, all new content, introduction of the Fantastic Four and Blade, maybe that comes to the MCU. And the thing is, we're looking at the list here, and there's nothing for the mutants. No Wolverine stuff. Granted, I know like he died in Logan, but like you said, they can rinse and repeat, start it over again, or they can just create the girl
Tell a different
version.
story. He lived for so long. There is so much you can tell. That's the problem here. Like we're assuming that it's going to be a continuation, and that's the thing. They don't have to advance the plot. Prequels are a thing.
Right. Or even
So
at the
they
end
can
of
just keep
Logan,
retelling
like
the
I
same
mean,
stuff or rewrite it.
the girl is Wolverine as well, so I mean they could make a female Wolverine now, like they're doing everything else.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'd be pretty cool, nonetheless. But any last thoughts on season 4 here, or phase 4 with the MCU?
Well, keeping that same topic going was like the future phase 4 and like going on afterwards. I don't see MCU recycling like all their already used characters.
Yeah.
I see them progressing the story using all the new characters and bring out characters never heard of. Like they're bringing out Eternals. We don't know nothing about Eternals, but once we see it, like we're gonna become fans of that and bring more, attention to it and it'll get more of a fan base and they can like rehash it and make more comments for that stuff that people weren't initially.
Isn't the
as long as
Eternals
it's
like a
health.
group of?
The gap. I didn't know who they were either.
Isn't the Eternals like a group of heroes
Yeah.
as well? So like, if Eternals really catches on and it does really well, heck, that opens the door creating backstory movies, and you can dive into each individual character and how they become who they are and stuff like that, and how and you can all make it like, oh, okay, this is how they came as a group or whatever it is. I don't really know the story behind them, but there are definitely tons of options. There's going to be tons of content past phase 4. I think there's going to be a phase 5. They're not going to start over fresh. I think they're just going to keep building on what they have for a while. I mean, everybody loves the MCU. It would suck to see like, all right, cool, we're starting over, guys. Like, I just wasted like 20 years of my life.
I mean,
Well, and it's not a waste. That's the other thing. It's just,
Yeah, I know.
it's
No doubt.
there's
it took 3 phases just to complete that whole arc of a story from Iron Man all the way to Endgame. So I don't see them like stopping or recycling anything into like well after like decades from now. They could keep
But
this going
then
forever.
think about the exhaustion of things they're going to do as well. So when stuff that's on the side doesn't start selling, are they going to continue to keep trying to dabble in, obscure teams that aren't your big flagship characters? Or are we going to go, okay, we've done it. Iron Man does well in focus groups. Let's tell a new Iron Man story, because when they started Iron Man, the original Iron Man movie, I'm pretty sure Endgame wasn't their goal in mind. They were just like, we're making an Iron Man movie, and then they realized, wow, this sold. Let's make an Iron Man 2. Oh, it sold again. Let's make an Iron Man 3. Oh my God, it sold. And at this point, they had already added in other characters and stuff, and it
Right.
just if it sells, they'll keep doing it. If it doesn't, we probably won't see as much extended universe.
Right. No, yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely agree. But any last thoughts here before we close out the podcast for today?
No, all
Yeah.
good.
Not good.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's a pretty slow week this week.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, January and February I think will be pretty slow, but nonetheless, we'll still be here talking about games and whatnot and bringing on other guests. But as we close out the podcast here tonight, I just want to thank Mason for joining us this week. It was great to have you on the show. Maybe inform you a little bit about the gaming industry a little bit more, and you can dive into some of that kind of stuff. But I know you really love the MCU, so it was cool to bring you on for that.
Thank you. Yeah,
Most
I'll have
definitely. Most definitely.
All right.
But where can we find you, Mason? Like social media? You working on anything at all?
Not really, man. Instagram is Mason, Mace_son, MASE_son. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you don't have to.
No, yeah, I hear that. Are you working on yourself at all? You bettering yourself at all?
I would say so, absolutely. I've been eating a lot better, a lot less than I used to eat. Like I used to eat like gross amounts of food, man. But I've been losing weight slowly but surely. So
No, yeah, it's always a start.
back in the gym because I keep making excuses for myself that I'm too tired or like I don't feel like I'd rather play a game. Like I need to get out of that negative mindset to really
Yeah.
get in the weight.
Once this pandemic's over, it'll be a lot easier too.
They're open now. Like I've been using COVID as the excuse. That's my most recent excuse.
Mhm.
But
Oh yeah.
definitely got to knock that off.
No, yeah, I can agree. I mean, even before COVID, like last year, I started those like month-long goals I was set myself, and all the month of February, every single day of February, I went to the gym. And then March, I changed it to 3 times a week, and then COVID hit, and I was like, well, can't go to the gym no more. No more exercise for me, because like I'm opposed to with working out like with my own body weight. I personally think I'm too big for that right now until I actually like grow and like strengthen myself, and then I'll be able to do it. But I need the machines right now, and can't do that. COVID.
Right.
But there are other things I could be doing: riding a bike,
Yeah.
going for a walk, run, play basketball. Nonetheless, but what about you, Roger? You working on anything? Projects, bettering yourself?
Not really. No, just kind of reading more. That's the big thing lately. I let it go by the wayside, and my books keep piling up. So,
Yeah.
I trying to read more light novels and novels instead of actually trying to read manga all the time. I love manga, but
Mm-hmm.
and also there's a new comic book shop in town, and by new I mean it's a few months old now. Maybe I might
really?
get my Detective Batman subscription, the ones I'm missing, and read the 30 volumes that I have of it.
You see what Spooky Crew said? That's
Yeah.
great. But where's the comic book shop at?
Just down the road from the brew pub in town.
By Tighter Flag?
Just
Oh,
around
okay.
the corner.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check it out. For sure. So do they get like a lot of the new stuff, or are they primarily old stuff?
Usually
Or a
comic
mixture.
book stores get the new stuff. They resell their stuff. They buy this guy's buying stuff as well. So he's a buy and trade.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Because I have a couple of shops down here where some of them get all the new stuff, and then I go to a place and they're like, yeah, we only have old stuff. Like, we don't get no new stuff unless someone like sells it to us or something like that. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool to know. But
Yeah, it's kind of a pawn thing versus a selling the new stuff.
no, yeah, for sure. But you bettering yourself any other ways, or you just kind of just chilling, hanging out, and
Trying to
yourself busy.
keep up after the house. Sometimes we let it go. That's the
That's
big issue.
understandable.
Just taking care of chores around the house.
being an
Nightmare,
adult,
man.
you know.
Yeah, being an adult's the hardest thing.
Right, right.
Especially when you own your own home. There's no landlord to repair your house for you. You
Right,
got
you
to
have
do
to
it or
do
you
it.
got to pay for it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But where can we find you at?
Same place as always, twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion with an A.
Yeah, no doubt. That's good to hear. Myself, just been busy with just got the game review up for Assassin's Creed, so definitely check that out. Also had the first episode of my new talk show. That's up on the channel as well on the Chill Zone. Definitely check that out. I was live with Lauren, my girlfriend, as we talked about like interracial relationship. Along with her crafting business and another topic as well. So definitely go check it out. And then upcoming episode is this Sunday with my cousin Steven. We're going to talk about his journey through firefighting and some other topics as well. But I think his journey through firefighting from volunteer to a paid firefighter is a great story to tell. So definitely be on the lookout for that. That'll be live on Sunday at 7 p.m. on twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin'. So definitely check that out. Can't check us out live, make sure you check it out on YouTube. That'll be posted I think on Tuesday, so be on the lookout for that. Other than that, just been playing games. Hopefully I get a Watch Dogs review up in the next coming weeks. Hopefully I can get through that game. Probably not at this rate. But yeah, then other than that, I definitely starting to read more again. I have 2 Star Wars books that I'm trying to get through right now. So I mean, between games, podcast, talk show, read, like it's definitely put a lot on my plate right now. So it's fun. It's not like, oh, I gotta do this. It's like, oh yeah, you gotta do this today.
It's
gotta be
something
more
you
organized.
enjoy. Trying to find the time to do all the things you enjoy is the issue.
Right. So I started working on planning and organizing more. So I do have like a 2021 planner, so I can lay everything out on paper for like all my extracurricular activities like gaming, movies, TV shows, books, stuff like that. And then of course like I use my phone calendar and this calendar right here to keep track of all the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
So definitely I could say I've been working on bettering myself with organization as well. I always like being organized, but there's always more ways to improve on that as well. So that's definitely a plus. Physically, I definitely want to start working out more. Hopefully I can get back into playing basketball again. I haven't played probably since February of 2020, so it's been a long time. But yeah, other than that, same stuff, different day. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin_, Xbox X Never Space Chillin'. Party up with me, chat with me. If you want on the show, you can message me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything you want. Just find me on those. Vic Brubacher. Instagram, I think, is Never_Chillin'. I think I have to double check on that. But other than that, we're going to continue to release these episodes weekly. And again, we did change the format for our in-progress reviews. First Thursday of every month, we'll do a game review a game that we're playing. Hopefully, we're working on Cuphead, so maybe we actually might beat it by the time that comes around. That's the plan. But if not, you can check us out live every Thursday, 7 p.m. If you can't catch us all live, it'll be on our YouTube channel every Monday. I usually have it up probably around like 8 o'clock at night, but you can check it out. But continue to make sure you share and share our videos, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And it'd be great to come on, join us on live. As you can see here, we definitely try to engage with our viewers and stuff, but we want more. We want more people to have fun with us, man. It'd be cool to even bring more people into the show and whatnot. So definitely be on the lookout for that and stay in touch. But other than that, until next time, peace.
Good one.